Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. So I know I've been a little MIA these days, but I really wanted to make a video about books in this springtime. And so I am running like a book challenge on this channel via Discord. It's free, everybody can join. I'll link it down below. And the April theme is books with flowers on the cover, which just screams a springtime to me. So I decided to kind of combo a couple videos here. I'm gonna give you all the books on my shelves that have flowers on the cover, including the ones I have not read, as well as the ones I have read. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And in a way, it's going to be a little bit of a spring TBR for me because I am excited to get to all of these books. I love that I can just go to my bookshelves and pick out all the books in various genres that have flowers on the cover. So let me just share all the fun books I found on my bookshelves. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel if you're new here, or welcome back if you've been coming for a while. Like I said, books with flowers on the cover for my reading challenge. Again, I'll link it all down below, but let's just get into it because I have about 13 books sitting here in piles. I'll go through the ones that I have read before in case you're looking for ideas and you want to participate in the challenge in April. Here's some ideas of books that I have really liked because obviously they're still on my shelves. I liked them enough to keep them. The first book I want to talk about is a really unique book, and I really want to try more from this author, but it is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. It is kind of a time jumpy sort of story about this woman named Ursula and how she was born in like the early 1900s, and then she'll live her life, and then something will happen to her, and then she is born again, and then she lives kind of a different route. And so it kind of follows this idea of like what would happen if you make all these decisions in life and instead of turning right, you turn left. And it kind of follows that with her story. So I love kind of time books that kind of mess with time. And so this one's a really, really good one. So if you're looking for a flower on the cover, this is like one of the books that popped into my mind first. Another one that I loved, this was on my favorites from last year, was Someone I Used to Know by Paige Toon. This is a contemporary novel. I don't usually read contemporary books, but this is so good. It's about this woman named Leah, I believe. Yeah, Leah, and she has these two good friends from childhood that are very impactful for her life, and then it skips to kind of the future and what is happening in their lives. What I really loved about this was the friendships of these characters, but also the fact that it represents like a foster family situation. Like her parents were always bringing in foster kids. Like she was the only biological kid in the family. And so she kind of had this revolving door of siblings and how that affected her and how that affected her future choices. It's just a heartwarming, heartbreaking sort of story that I just really enjoyed. And it has little daisies on the cover, which, sorry, you didn't focus on that. But another one, okay, so this book I read early in BookTube, like right away, and I really enjoyed it. It's a YA mystery book called These Shallow Graves by Jennifer Donnelly. I really liked it. So it's about this girl, I think she's like teenager, late teens, who is kind of well-to-do, I believe, in New York City. Her father dies and she's like at boarding school or something, and she gets some information, and then she comes home and she does not believe that he, I think it's like accidentally shot himself. And then she starts investigating, and it brings her to some more seedy parts of New York City and this man that helps her. It's really fun. I really enjoyed it. It is YA. I think I mentioned that. Okay, another book that has lots of flowers on the cover is this one. So this is The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. So I love the whole Practical Magic series. I'm actually not sure if it has a better name, but I've read 3 of the 4 books. I just haven't read the latest one. And I believe this one is the one in the middle. And it is about the aunts of the story. I think it was like Franny and Jet and their mom and the decisions that their mom makes while raising them. And I think they even have a brother, Vincent or something like that. And so it tells their story, and then it continues to tell their story like in Practical Magic, and then the last book, I think it's called Book of Magic. So I highly recommend that whole series. I know that's like the second book in this series, so it might not be one to pick up for a reading challenge if you haven't read the first one, or just do what you want. But that one I highly recommend. So another one with flowers on the cover is this. So I didn't really think about this until I was like searching through every book on my bookshelf. So this is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. I think she just came out with a new book. I know nothing about it, but This book was really interesting, and it was publicized more as like a fantasy book, but I think it is a lot more historical fiction than fantasy. I don't feel like there was really very much fantasy. It has to do with this woman in London who runs an apothecary shop, but it kind of has this side business, after dark business, where women can come and seek solutions to problems in their lives, usually the men in their lives. So she basically deals in poisons for women in particular. So it follows that, and then there's this present timeline of a woman who is struggling with different things, and she finds one of the vials in the London River, and it kind of goes from there. It was a very entertaining story. I really liked it. It's very historical fiction, atmospheric, just unique. So those are the 5 books that are on my shelves that I have read that have flowers on the cover in case you need some inspiration. But the next thing I want to do is talk through this other stack I have in front of me of books that I have not read that have flowers on the cover, and I don't know what I'm going to pick. Actually, you know what I might do? I might run a poll on my Discord if I can. If there's not a poll feature, I might just list them and have you guys help me decide which of these to read for April. That'll be fun. Maybe I'll do that. But let me go through what I have as options. So the first one is this book. So this is The Husband's Secret by Leon Moriarty. And I still haven't read any of her books. I'm curious about her books. This one in particular is, I believe, about a wife who finds a letter that is addressed to her kind of tucked away in some box in the attic or something like that. And it's from her husband, and she's only supposed to read it when he's dead. So she calls him and she's like, "What's this letter?" And he's like, "Don't read it." And of course she's like, "Oh, I won't." And then she reads it, right? And then I think it goes from there. I know nothing about the direction of that, but it sounds interesting, and it very much has a flower on the cover, very clearly. So that's one option. The next one is this book. So it's the first book in the Dandelion Dynasty series by Ken Liu. It's The Grace of Kings. I don't know if I want to start a whole nother series, and I'm not quite sure even what this one's about. It's a first book in an epic high fantasy series that I feel like I've heard that people love, but they kind of have to get through a couple books to really get invested. Honestly, I can't quite explain it. It sounds like kind of a more of a revolution story. I don't know, but it's on my list. It's on my shelves. All right, this book. Okay, so this is Dragonfly by Leila Mechem. I'm not quite sure how to say her name, but this is a historical fiction spy book. Although I have heard it is a little bit on the lighter side, like not quite so heavy, which I'm in the season when I'm not really seeking out heavy books anyway, so this might be a perfect time to read it. I believe it is about, 5 young American spies who are sent to Paris during the height of World War II. They are kind of part of a team, and what happens to them, I'm not quite sure. But I like spy books. I really tend to enjoy them. All right. Oh, here's a Kate Morton. Okay. I feel like I have mentioned this book in so many TBRs. And so it is The Distant Hours. And I believe it is about a woman who gets a letter or finds a letter. And it is about her mother, and it is about the time she spent in this castle in the countryside of England during World War II with these 2 Finster sisters, I believe. And I believe the daughter then goes to the castle to kind of learn more about her mother. And I'm sure there's secrets because it is a Kate Morton. All right, and so there's that one. And then this one was easy to find, flowers on the cover. And so The Last Garden in England by Julia Kelly. So this sounds like it says a poignant, unforgettable tale of 5 women connected across time by one very special garden. And some of the timelines are 1907, 1944, present day. So I'm not quite sure what's special about the garden, but that sounds intriguing. I do like multiple timelines and then how they all connect. Kind of reminds me a bit of like The Women of Chateau Lafayette, which I read fairly recently, which had that trope, which I really do like. Okay, I also have this book. So Once and Future Witches. I believe it's the first book in a trilogy, but I'm not quite sure. It's by Alex E. Harrow. This is about a group of sisters in 1893 when there's just no such thing as witches, and they live in New Salem, Massachusetts, and then something starts happening which makes it so that they have to find solution in some of those old practices. And so I don't know. I've heard good things though, and I'm not sure if it's a series, but I will look that up. All right, the next option I have for flowers on the cover is this one. So there's some daisies. I know these ones are a little hard to see. There's some daisies. But this is The Clockmaker's Daughter by Kate Morton. So another Kate Morton. I didn't really quite realize I had two. So this one sounds like it's a bit of a mystery book. So it is set in the summer of 1862, and it says there's a group of young artists who go to like this manor and want to spend the summer there, and they want to like laze around and like paint and things like that, I believe. But by the time their stay is over, one woman has been shot while another has disappeared. A priceless heirloom is missing, and Edward Radcliffe's life is in ruins. It just sounds good. So I really do enjoy Kate Morton's writing, and I want to get back to it. So maybe one of those two books would be good. Okay, so the last book though that was on my shelves that has flowers is These Violent Delights. Clearly there's lots of flowers, and this is by Chloe Gom. And I believe this is a YA book, and it is definitely a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but it is in Shanghai, 1926. There's two Gaines, and one of them has an 18-year-old Juliet, and then the other has like a Roma or something like that. Yes, and then the other one has a Roma, so Romeo and Juliet. And so that's the basic plot. But then there is like this contagion or a madness of a monster in the shadows that is going on that I think the Gaines have to maybe come together to solve it. I'm not really sure. I believe this is the first of two. It's just a duology. So it's on my shelves. So I have all of these choices, these 8 choices. So I think I will do that. I will post these on to my Discord group and see what you all think I should read. But otherwise, I would love for your thoughts. Which ones do you think I should read? Let me know down below in the comments. And please join us if you want to. It's the most casual reading challenge around. Just a theme a month pretty much, as well as a nonfiction book, which I have to pick. Or I might roll over my March book because I have not been reading as well during this month, but that is what it is. So these are my thoughts for next month's theme. And otherwise, that's what I have for this video, you guys. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want to. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next book video. All right, guys, take care. Bye.